of NRA, now UPDF. And the celebrations have been taken to Bugweri for the following reasons. First and foremost, we are looking at celebrating the struggles of our people, right from the Fronasa days in the early 70s, all through that gives birth to NRA in 81, up to date. And Bugweri, rather Busoga, if you may recall, had people that were killed for supporting the anti-Amin struggle in Nebugembe. Many of them are from Mayuge particularly. So we are acknowledging these individuals. But two, the other person we need to celebrate also is the late Haji Kirunda Kivei Dinda, who himself hails from Bugweri. Actually, the reason why Bugweri was chosen was because of his contribution to the country. And of course, we agreed with the leaders from the entire Busoga, the local leaders, about the choice of where we should have the main celebrations. However, throughout this week until Friday, the 5th, which will be Monday, we have had medical outreach activities, engineering activities, cleaning activities in all the 11 districts of Busoga. Right from Mayuge in the south, up to Buyende in the north, then straight up to Bugiri in the east. So every district we have had dental services, eye care services, antenatal, prenatal activities for expectant mothers. We have done child immunization. We have given mama kits. We have carried out education of the circles by our own circle. There was an endo circle. We have done, we have had a training, it's still going on, of youth and women in Wanyange girls, which has taken, which will end Monday, the 5th. Many of these engineering projects, the health centers we have renovated, the classroom blocks we have built or renovated. Those that are complete will be handed back on the 5th of February, which will be Monday, by various ministers accompanied by. So that's why we chose Busoga.
Interesting. Thank you, General, for updating us on that. And from UPC, how will you take that recita to be, and how are you celebrating it, if you are celebrating anyway?
Thanks very much. It puts me between a hard place and a rock to celebrate the star in that context, is saying, but I would prefer to take a moral position. The general is my OB at Kako Primary, but he always forgets about me. We are in the same year, 1970s. When we are being groomed by the Kaziringa, the Mwagaranyis, the Batovus, we had ambitions. Yes, we had ambitions. And some of those ambitions were to be teachers, engineers, footballers. And some opted to be for a military career or to be prisoner officers. And they discussed with their parents, they discussed with their teachers. Now, if you were successful in the enrollment of 1991 and we are posted to Kavamba Military Training School, and such an experience of that magnitude happens, it would directly not only affect you who is trading, it would affect your family, it would affect your friends, and it would even pollute some atmosphere that, joining a military school of the army, you can be attacked, or the prisons, or what. Let us hold back, because we have a precedent. In the early 1960s, our government realized that there is a need to introduce military culture and people to love forces. So secondary schools were encouraged to have cadet units such that you start developing interest. When you go to Namiryango, one of the oldest, strongest rooms is a cadet room where they used to keep arms. Now they are keeping, I think, beans there, such that weavers cannot disturb them. You can find that that scheme of the cadet at secondary school level, it was affected with the developments in the Congo when we received so many casualties, refugees. Some people said, we can keep aside the military. So in this situation, yes, we are celebrating, but the moral question of it, we have also to put it in a wider context, and then also the geopolitics. By that time, we are rebuilding a new army from the ashes after kicking out Idi Amin and his army collapsing. Now the task of building a new army was on rocks, as I would say. That would have been the intention of those who invaded. But again, there is also another connotation. Our godfathers who have been with us in the struggle happened to be more close than Nyerere, and I did not think that UNRA at that time had its own instructors, so we had even Tanzanian instructors at Kabamba. Suppose they were caught in the crossfire, what diplomacy would the government in Kampala have to say to the government in Dar es Salaam? And what diplomacy was all the liberators in the bush have to say to a person like Musuguri or TBD who were very instrumental? So my appeal is that let us reflect back and let us celebrate and say let our data experiences give us lessons for building a better nationalism, and we are not again called back to such experiences. That is the message from Uganda People's Congress.
Interesting and a very good message indeed. We are learning from you.
Unfair to the man asking him about Teresita when unique is actually they were the target.
Interesting. Ambassador Milton.
Of course, I have to really congratulate our men in uniform, but also His Excellency the President and the people of Uganda for really reaching onto this day. And I want to really salute the people that really lost their lives during the fight for freedom. And really, this was a cost to the country, and I know it destabilized many families. And just like every struggle for freedom ends, especially if it is led by such a revolutionary, visionary man in the outfit of the President Museveni, it will always succeed. I thank General before me and the structure of the UPDF for really standing and building such infrastructure. Let me go to what really brought us here today. When we say celebrating peace, you know, the struggle that ushered in the peace, unity, and security that people are saying we are enjoying today, and it's true, because it has fruits. For example, the end of insurgencies. I must say, of course, our brother from UPC is here, and those of you who belong to NUP or FDC, the new parties, really must appreciate this role, the role of ending insurgencies. Today, as we talk, from border to border, there is no rebel activity going on. The small spots of terror attacks on our civilians, on our infrastructure, those are actually the small spots that we cannot say the government is weak on this in this area. But then my question to you, all of us listening on this radio, is how have we now tapped how have we utilized the peace and security into the foundation of economic transformation. Of course, they say that Katunda Tagaba Byonna, I want to give the thesis good place, so that at the end of this debate, now we add on what is the 21st century outlook on peace and peace building and defense mechanisms. Is it just to have peace? Then you don't turn that peace into the foundation now to transform education outcomes, to guarantee innovations in local communities, so that we have indigenous Ugandans becoming billionaires because we don't have insurgencies anymore. So I thank you. Those are my opening statements, sir.
Interesting. Thank you, Ambassador Milton Kambula. Allow me get back to you, General. According to the theme, celebrating people's struggle for unity, peace, and security, one says you're fronting or prioritizing the citizens this time, but would love to know how the contribution they have had in the struggle during the liberation, but also what is your current relationship between you, men in uniform, and the civilians?
First of all, I wish to correct you. We are not prioritizing civilians now. We have always prioritized the population. We believe that the civil military relations relate to the relationship between fish and water. Whereas, and allow me quote my commander-in-chief, he said the people need the army, but the army cannot exist without the people. So the people can exist. They only need us to serve them. But for us to survive, to exist in the first place, the population is paramount. One, they are the source of the manpower, but two, they are the source of sustainability. And the three, minus the people's support, you cannot survive in power. Forget it. So, after 24 years of celebrating within the barracks, because we had the political leadership had relegated Tarisita to only the military celebrating themselves, then after 24 years we said no, we cannot be called the people's army, and then we do not share with the people the joy we have about our birthday. But is it about parade? No. Parade can only be, let's get the resources we have and share. Yes, every day people come to our medical facilities for assistance. For instance, Bomba alone treats 70%. 70% of cases handled by Bombo Hospital are civilians, not the military. So we extend now. We pick a week, pick a region, and do exactly what we have been doing in our medical facilities in the public domain. Campaigning against HIV, educating people on clean environment to avoid the avoidable diseases, and then of course, as I said, the attention to the expectant mothers, and then immunization and eye care. We give free spectacles to those who needed them. We did surgery the other day in Uganda, where mothers who were due were helped to deliver by the UPDF medical staff. Then the engineers, as you realize, we have built capacity. I would wish my fellow panelists to join me in celebrating the achievement of such a beautiful airport. That terminal building that is state of the art. You know, the arrivals and the departures, you would think you are not in Uganda anymore. Thanks to our engineers who have that ingenuity. The only foreign thing are some of the materials, but the ideas, the personnel, are all your sons and daughters, brothers and sisters, who have put that state of the art. You remember the hula about to Nambole? You can see now post the AFCON, I think, of 2027?
Yes, 2027.
Yes. So, you can only know the capacity you have built in your country if we come out and indeed do the things we are doing. So, you cannot celebrate peace with a sick population. You cannot celebrate peace, as the ambassador here was saying, when you are poor. So, security is not an end. For us, we believe security is a means to an end. You have security, yes, invest. You have security, yes, do innovations. You have security, yes, educate your people. One of the biggest challenges I'm seeing in this country is about attitudes. And I would think for us, we have to have been doing in these educational activities we carry out, we address the issue of mindset change. We have the solutions, but we look elsewhere. And this song of two for one of government here to Yambe, why do we admire the Americans halfway? Jeff Kennedy said, don't ask what America can do for me. Ask what can I do for America. What can you do for Uganda if you're a patriotic citizen? My brother here from the UBC was talking about the cadet started. One of the things I want to salute the first UBC government was the policy of students or children going to schools away from their home area. If you are from Teso, you go to Chigezi College, Chigezi High School. You are from Kabale, you find yourself in Kitgum. That was to inculcate nationalism in our population. And I salute that policy. I wish it had continued up to now. Now today, I was observing yesterday, one is born in Kisubi, goes to Savio, goes to St. Mary's, goes to Kisubi University, gets a job of teaching in St. Mary's or Savio. This person will never know Uganda. The only Uganda he knows is Kisubi. Are you getting me? So probably we may need to consider in our education policy, serving away from your home area, studying away from your home area, because today, I want to assure you, we have tribalists that we think are Ugandans. So for us, peace and security is for a purpose. And we have only come out because indeed we are secure to share with you now the other skills other than the fighting ones that we have for the population to benefit. But most importantly, we are also doing on spot check, are Ugandans actually utilizing the peace we have given for their own social transformation, or they are only playing cards every day and betting on football matches and arguing who is better, Chelsea or Arsenal or Man U. Whereas those ones, the club members are making their money, you Ugandans are busy here supporting them, shouting, wasting valuable work man hours discussing football at 8 in the morning on a Monday. Thank you.
Interesting. Dr. Rwanga, let me pick it from where General has looked it, that we have not utilized the peace that they fought for like we ought to have, and so we are benefiting less. Would you agree to that very kind of thought?
Thanks very much for giving me this opportunity. Having a personal development or society development, at times it does not go to an element of peace which has been in the place, though peace is a prerequisite of everything. It goes with the sort of, yes, our general went to the bush with the rest. What did they come up with? They came up with a 10-point program. And the 10-point program was to guide us, was to direct us where to own it, like the way Moses and his followers owned the 10 commandments on the Mount of Sinai. Now, when you go deeply into the 10-point program, it gives you the do's and the don'ts. Now, the key factor which would have touched everybody is that element of an independent, self-sustaining, and integrated economy, which is in the spirit of national unity, of national independence, and it has to have frameworks in programs, in papers written. Now I think maybe because their governments started with the fighting, It was not after, I think, 2010 that now they came out with clear blueprints of 5-year development plan. And I think now we are running the third one, which will tally with the 2030. So all these other years, maybe if you were a sailor, they were trying to find the bearings and in the Indian Ocean. And in the process of finding the bearings, some ground got lost. And by now, as we are celebrating 43 of firing the first shot, they are trying to recover those lost grounds. Some are easy to recover. Some are not easy to recover. For instance, in that process, we were told, let us privatize. Privatize is not a bad idea, but you and me, if you look at Uganda, where you come from, I don't know which village you come from, you will see that our local capitalists we have at the villages are indeed leading a very subsistence life, and they may not be there. And the measure of wealth of our people in the villages, where we are the majority, by the way, was who owns a bicycle and who has constructed a Mabati house and who has married 3 or 2 or 4 wives and who has a shamba of matoke, of millet, of cassava, okay? And who at the end of the day sells a bit of coffee. That was the atmosphere they found us. So we may give them a big hand that they managed to create some private investors. How they created them, they will need to tell us. Because somebody to become an instant millionaire out of blue or an investor out of blue, it is not an easy thing. And if we have succeeded in making it, and there are no issues which will come up in the future, that is a very, very big plus which we can give. And Major, you are free to laugh at it. Okay? Because Major, by the way, as I said, I mean, General, I'm sorry for it.
Yes.
As I said, you are my contemporary.
Yeah.
Okay? And being my contemporary, we share a lot in terms of generation.
Yeah.
And if you looked around with our hobbies in Kako, most of them are not very successful, though some have actually made it. So, your question that have we improved? Are we making make of peace to extend? It is not only peace. Even the longest stay in power from 1986 to date, if you are in charge of government and your government is not being fought like that one of UBC and Dr. Apollo Milton Obote, gives you room to deliver and put food on the table. So we should ask ourselves, is now food enough? Since we are talking of one system, one leadership from 1986 to date. If food is not on the table, what has happened? Okay, that we are not seeing food. We are starting to have a conversation, replacing produce marketing board and having individuals as a private sector driven economy. Has it delivered? Has it improved the value chain we talk about, we champion about, okay? Replacing coffee marketing board with various players. Has it helped to pick coffee from China Mukak, improve on its quality, export it to Europe? These are serious key questions we are asking. Have we managed to diversify fully the economy from agriculture to tourism to mining to estates? Yes, there is a new emerging environment of the estates industry. But the estates industry, is it catering for an ordinary OB of the general? No. The estate sector seems to be capturing people of a certain imagination that you are heading a parastatal, you are heading an NGO. Me who is down there in the middle, I have not been captured. Who is going to capture me? Should the government come in and direct this war was waged to liberate people, to uplift people's living conditions, but we are ignoring others. Then we are also seeing a syndrome. Some of us, we are born around Kampala, because I hail from Kaboja, which is now Chengera Town Council. But now when I'm to walk from Kaboja to the city, all the key things which made up my life, I'm not seeing them. Go to Katwe today, which was the center of African nationalism, the first headquarters of Uganda National Congress. You will not see any trace of that Katwe nationalism. Everything has become a different thing altogether. So much as we are talking of this peace, the unity, the sort of development, it should not erode away our heritage, what we hold on. Okay? So this is very, very important. But of course, development, you cannot have it minus a cost. It comes with a cost. Recently, there was that battle whether to preserve an important tree known as Nabukalu or Nabukalu to go. And Nabukalu had to go. But in Zambia, in a town I worked in, this is Kabwe in the central province, they have maintained the oldest tree which even the slave traders used and which all the politicians used during the independence struggle. And it is within the heart of Kabwe. So when we are celebrating these 38 years of...
Actually,
I mean 43 of Teresita, let us also benchmark whatever defined Uganda. And if it is possible, we preserve it. Preservation of values of a country does not mean underdevelopment. You stand to benefit.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting. Please.
You see, I'm glad he started with the 10-point program. Because indeed, if you are going to judge whether there has been achievement or not, you examine what was set out to be done. And you know that the first one is security, which we are discussing now. 2, building a self-sustaining economy, which is point number 5, would be achieved from the different way the previous governments had done it. You had an economy manned, controlled, and pushed by the state. And what was the result? Where you had to get a cheat from a minister to go and buy dollars. I don't know that you remember that, doctor. That you had a minister for supplies because there were shortages in the economy. A whole minister in charge of what? Supplies. That for you to get a kilogram of sugar, unless you are a UPC, you had to get a cheat to go and get the sugar from the designated shops. My late brother-in-law was the chairman of UPC in a village in Kavari. His children never knew anything called without sugar. They all had sugar throughout their lives. I, who was in Bukoma Simbi, I never knew sugar, right from Amini's time. I never knew soap. These are simple things.
Because you are connected to no one in government.
I was connected to no one in government. Today, whether you are whose son or a peasant's son, what matters, I have the effective demand. And for us, that's our interest. And that's why you find that one of the biggest advocates for income generation is President Museveni himself. And I can assure you, as a person who was escorting him in the early 90s, this has been his consistent message. Domestic income. That's why he had those programs of Nabagagawale and Tandikwa, I don't know what. Now, what this my OB here is referring to, what was the performance of these boards you are talking about? Coffin Marketing Board, it ended up being the official channel of financing the chairman who was chairman of the board over the time. The country was borrowing up to 72% of the economy. To sustain the economy, we were borrowing 72% of the money. Today, we are financing the economy 3/4 by our own revenue. Now, this revenue is coming from who?
That's a plus.
That's a plus. Number two, look at infrastructure. Today, before you come from Kaboja, I can tell you, my people from Kisoro would take a whole week to reach Kampala. The people of Arua are the same.
Because of the state of the road.
Because of the state of the road. Three, always UPC boasted about the 20 hospitals, which, by the way, were not built by internal revenue. It's a plus. But today we are saying we have brought health centers up to parish level. Health center 2. Now, the question of drugs, that's another matter where we have a problem with our own leadership at local levels. Because you don't expect the Minister of Health to go and protect the drugs which have been supplied to the health center 2. When you have LC1, 2, you have a PISO, a GISO. What is the purpose of these individuals? And by the way, fellow panelists, I may need to tell you, in this country now, we are so rich with leaders that out of every 5 individuals in a district, 5 are leaders. Now, with that galaxy of leadership, you would have expected the population to be mobilized into health, living in a health environment, into drinking clean water, into quality education at primary level. When I was in the primary, the parish priest, before I came to Kako, the parish priest was monitoring the teaching in my primary school. Today, parish priest exists but doesn't know what is going on in the school next to his church. That sense of responsibility, because it's government. Government is what we try to remove, Doctor. That you, the individual Ugandan, you have a responsibility. 4, once I create the environment, government has 4 responsibilities: infrastructure, security we talked about, communication, education, and health. Once those have been provided for, the individual has room to use his head, hands, heart, and legs. Those who have them, even those who don't have them, as my OB here is, they use their heads, they use their hands to make innovations. It is important for us to realize that where governments were in the lead, no development took place. And indeed, that's why today we all go to school looking to government for employment. But there are only 300,000 to 400,000 jobs in the government. We are 45 million people. So what will happen? At my time, that's why I have Lira and Guru surpassing Kampala in growth. But check where we had war before 1985. Everything was destroyed. So we need to be careful that we do not politicize these issues, but examine them on their own merit. And in my humble view, the National Development Plan 3 would serve us better if we addressed pillar number 18, mindset change. In here, I want us to put serious effort on national service. UPC tried 1970. It was decampaigned by the DPs. They called in the language of my brother here, they're calling it common man is a charter. You know, but it was intended to uplift the common man. Now, unfortunately, in the things and the programs of the 60s died a natural death. Now, there has been a tendency of saying, oh, it's because the UPC government was being fought. For us, we have had a war that covered the entire half of the country. even in spite of that, killer diseases were all immunized against. No wonder the population explosion. You know, between 1991 and 2001, the population of Uganda had grown by 10 million. That was unprecedented. And that has a steering on the social services that were being provided by government, the health policies and education policy. So, I agree. Dr. Rwanga will not be touched by the private person who is selling the coffee, but when we tax this coffee he has made with value addition, then we are able to invest in facilities that Dr. Rwanga will benefit from. I thought I should
Thank you, General, for attending to such concerns and questions. Milton Kambula, allow me get to you now. We have heard from General Kulaije, and I would love to take you back to President Museveni's speech in 1986. No one should think that what is happening today is a mere change of guard. It is a fundamental change in the politics of our country and in Africa. We have seen so many changes that change. As such, is nothing short of mere turmoil. We have had one group getting rid of another, only for it to turn out to be worse than the group it displaced. Do not count us in that group of people. He was referring to National Resistance Movement, and of course, which came from National Resistance Army, and is a clear-headed movement with clear objectives and good membership. With those statements many years ago, 38 years ago, which they are fulfilling the dream that started in 1981, have we really, the people of Uganda, tested this fundamental change? Have we lived to the objectives, the 10 points program that General talked about?
First and foremost, his statement ending with, "We are not part of them." Really, it was a very resignful statement, which was strong, vibrant.
And have they lived to that?
That is now the anatomy I'm going to really share with Ugandans. And I thank him because by that time, of course, if we brought to really be in the same room with the Museveni of today, they would dialogue really, and we would have a balanced debate like the one I'm going to share right now. I must say Uganda was the most dangerous place to be in by that time. Museveni was facing a country everybody really didn't want to be in, and even our friends from China, US, Canada, Europe. World Bank, of course, produced even a report in 1986 to say Uganda is the most dangerous place to be in or to even visit. So you can imagine how that statement and that situation could have been, or could have the economy. It created startups, as of course people are the ones that develop a country, local people, who use their innovations to begin small and grow big. That's how countries like Singapore, South Korea, Malaysia, Brazil, all these countries were at the same level. So President Museveni was faced with a situation, and he was saying, no, enough is enough. Let us come up with the strategy of fighting these governments and remove them. Now, by that time, everyone knows that even foreign investments were not there. It was really bleak. Idi Amin had chased the Indian colleagues, our friends, the Israelites. Uganda was a threat to the rest of the world. So nobody could come and invest here, my brother. He was talking about, of course, the tourism sector, that indeed we are a different group of people. We want to build a peaceful country that can really attract, tourism, tourists from all over the country to come. That takes a really strong effort. Our export potential, of course, I thank President Obote, his first term. He was really a strong leader. He had really scotched the whole country into production of improved numbers of cotton exports, to UK, to all these countries. And the copper mines were good in Kasese, there, the Klembe mines, and all this. But then was this in line with the industrialization agenda countries like China have taken over the last 110 years. I say I think it was still Gachari Mabaga. It was all about export of cotton so that we buy more clothes from these same people. Museveni was also, of course, talking to the small tax that was being collected. Of course, everyone knows you cannot have enough tax if you are really exporting raw cotton and coffee, you know. He was actually part of that government, he tells us today. So tax was not enough to actually link Uganda to industrialize and be able to have finished products like cars, manufacture planes, manufacture phones. That was the Museveni of that time. And taxing what? So we had an economy of 5 billion, just the small chips money. So it was small money to really talk about. So Museveni of that time had a really great dream. But now I must ask that, because we are saying we are celebrating people's struggle. This was a struggle
for unity,
to change this trajectory. Museveni was talking about that we are not part of that group. Change of guard, change of groups, this from the, we are coming for holistic transformation. Let me challenge his statement, however. I must say that now, after 40 years of leadership, of course, 2 years, just 2026 is coming across nobody's going to remove him. Some people are saying, together tomorrow. No, this is people, the power of the people. They voted their president, so he's there up to 2026. Now, but then let me challenge, because this is a debate, and I feel the general will not misunderstand me. The people's struggle to remove all these barriers, what was the motivation behind that? Was to turn this country around and build its peace and security and stability. But then did not they end there. Their main motivation was to make sure peace and security is really the ground, the foundation to industrialize the economy. To make sure that tourism levels increase so that we can have more than 5 million tourists every year, or maybe 10. I feel, based on the scholarly reports I have here from research, Gachari Mabaga turning the peace and security we have today. People are now sleeping. They have forgotten that people bought this country with blood. People were shot in their heads. I remember meeting Salimu Saleh General. He showed me his hand. He was shot. This was a young man, around 22 years. He was not a coward. He went to the bush. He left the comfort of the home of his father and other generals and other friends of ours who died during the Bush War. But today, if we examine, have we frustrated their struggle or Gachari Mabaga? I feel, to me, the peace and security has not been used exhaustively well to turn around the economy, industrialize it, and put our guard towards making Ugandans billionaires and enter middle-income economy. Number two, people's consistent involvement in choosing their leaders, right from the village level up to the presidency level. This is a plus. And those of you who are listening to me, having consistency, practicing this as part of our culture, we got to really salute Mr. President Museveni and his government. I am not political, but I must tell you, in other countries, this is a miracle. Can you have elections in the Gaza Strip right now? No, you can't. You cannot. You go to DRC. Yes, they do, but half of the country is under turmoil. Actually, they don't even vote. They don't even know what they're voting for. Go to South Sudan. They just know about elections just 5 years ago, since they got the independence of dividing themselves from North Sudan. Go to Khartoum. Can an election go on in Khartoum? No. So for the last 38 years, Ugandans have to bagambe nakatono, okay baza. And God says, abebaza katono, njabawe vichinene. In those that actually learn how to appreciate small things, then God can actually bless them. Now, but then, examining this practice as part of human rights clearance to the people of Uganda, a free meal card to us, that we are guaranteed that every 5 years we will vote the leaders we want. But my question is to the president of this country and general here and all those Ugandans listening to us. Have we taught Ugandans who is a leader? How does a leader look like? What are the expectations from a leader? Or what should a leader do? What are the playing grounds or places where we must nurture leaders? Civic education was scrapped from our curriculum. And it was enforced by the colonial masters, because the colonial masters, these guys have never changed their game plan, is to make sure Africans do not understand. They should have eyes, but they should not see. They must have mouth, but they should not speak to the future of their countries and their continent.
Interesting.
Now, my brother, until we fix and we separate what is elections as a norm from allowing idiots to be the ones having the microphone, the majority of our leaders, then they position Uganda's politics, Uganda's military, Uganda's peace infrastructure, Uganda's education, Uganda's economy in wrong places. And so we must say now, going forward, to make sure that the peace and security works in our favor, so that Uganda can industrialize, can become an independent nation and reduce on its debt burden of 10 trillions, and then end corruption. We must make sure we fix the mindset and the attitudes of Ugandans to match with the expectations from leaders, because leaders lead, they transform people, they bring changes, they go search for opportunities, they actually go to communities, organize the population towards the common vision, common values, and common economic aspirations. Lastly, is the struggle meant nothing but about education? I thank my colleague from UPC. You put your signature on the Global Education for All in Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, 1961, giving a roadmap to the whole world that indeed time has reached, while the world is really flourishing and transforming from the industrial age. Now they are talking about artificial intelligence. Yes, they talked about the 1961. They put up a pact, and Uganda was represented by His Excellency, your friend, our elder, one of our founding fathers, that is Mr. Milton Obote. But then the question is, after 38 years, after the struggle, how far have we gone with the enrollment, retention, but also education full potential? When reports like Inter-University Council of East Africa is indicating that 63% of our graduates are half-baked, level of skills development, zero. Level of creating jobs, innovation, zero. Where do you position the dreams and the fight of those people who went to the war to fight for the future of our children? After 38 years, the whole world is saying Uganda is still dependent on
Ambassador, allow me
people.
get back to you on that. Thank you so much. We have been joined by Keita Kagabi Doreen, Deputy RCC Kampala Central. A warm welcome to this edition of UBC Ground Zero, Madam RDCC.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. I'm a little bit late. I was caught up by some people down there in Kisenyi on land issues. So we are trying to resolve them, and we have successfully done that. I thank you so much. I'm very happy to be back, Ground Zero, especially on this day, this week, where we celebrate Uganda. On this day, I remember I'm taken back. There's a lot of feeling of I cannot stop celebrate Uganda every single day. So I want to congratulate, every Ugandan, the president, the UPDF, it all started with them. That's why it all started. So, as the theme says, celebrating people's struggle for unity, security, and peace. I join the UPDF and the people of Uganda to celebrate Tarehe Sita on the 6th of February, 1981. I think I was 2 years old.
Wow.
By then I was 2 years old, and but as I was growing up, there is a lot I have experienced. A lot has happened, and so much we have. So far we've come, and so far we have gained so many grounds. and I celebrate every single step all the way. I want to thank the people of Uganda. So, like all the speakers, I appreciate Afande General Felix Kuleje. As I was coming, I was listening. He commented. He quoted the President of America, saying, instead of asking what the country can do for you, ask what can you do for the country. And I want also to throw out my small voice to Uganda. At this stage, this is the question we need to ask ourselves, because there is nothing, there is no excuse. There is no excuse whatsoever. Be a young, a youth, be an old, be able, disabled, man, woman, whoever you are, a leader or the led, or whatever stage you are in at this moment, you cannot, educated or not educated, we have no excuse. You cannot say A, B, C, D. The answer is there. The final part of it all, which was started on the 6th February by these selfless, gallant men of sons and daughters of our country, it all started with them. It started with them, and all of a sudden now we are all equipped. So this is the question we should ask ourselves. Now everything is done. The country has brought peace. It has brought democracy. We can choose. We are united. Now we are into socio-economic transformation. Now we have PDM, whoever you are, okay, you must be equipped with your omoga, or myoga, to give your shot at your best of what you believe in, of your faith, what you can be. So that is the question that I also need to ask, and I also wish to answer everywhere I go. What can you do? What do you have? Even my Bible tells me, what do you have? Jesus, wherever he was going, he would ask them, this man, I think Moses, who had a stick and confronting the Egyptian king, and he was scared and giving excuses here and there, and God said, what do you have? And that is what the question Uganda is asking. That's what these people are asking, those who liberated us, the freedom fighters. The Ugandans are asking you as an individual, where you are, what do you have? What do you have? What do you believe in? What is your moga? What can you do? And when you answer that one, still the government of Uganda is saying, you cannot move alone. You cannot move alone. The government is there. So it takes energy, it takes mindset. Still, Afande, you mentioned it. The mindset, that is the biggest challenge. Yeah. A mindset, tribalism. It is very bad when you turn around. It is so, it is good. We have been equipped, we have been given liberty, we are free. But what did you do with your freedom is what determines that. What did you do with your belief? What did you do with where you are, whoever you are? So that is what I'm going to celebrate, the freedom, the liberty, to be here, me as small as I am, a woman, I'm sitting next to a general, I'm sitting next to some big, it is an achievement. That's not what I used to, we did not have that platform. You can also give your best shot. You can say, I want to be an MP, then you go, and it's your ability that what? You can say you want to go to Dubai, you want to go and do what do they call that? I'm sorry, I'm forgetting.
Second green pastures.
The green pastures.
Yes.
You go, but how do you go? That's the question now. So, what the task at hand and the celebration we have is like, we have been equipped, we have been empowered. Wherever we are, whoever you are, whether you went to school, it doesn't matter.
Interesting.
Whether you are at that highest level, still it matters if you are up there. So we need to value what we have. We need to value what we are, who we are. Okay, I'm appreciating the ambassador when he talks about we must go down on the ground now. We educate, we equip, empower. Let our people know. Afande said that at every village, at every level, and that is true, there is a leader. And actually our challenge now we have is that we have a problem of the type of leadership we have, the people we have. Because you find a leader at a certain level who is misleading instead of leading. So I celebrate Tarehe Sita, and I'm so proud. I thank God that it has to be me to see this and witness this, that a small person from Fort Potro, from Barara, and I'm here now, you're a leader in Kampala Central. The other person was asking, that is the challenge we have. So, who is this? What is this Kanyarwanda person? Who is this leading KCC? Who is in KCC? Who brought? That is the mindset some of us have, and that is the challenge. That is the fight we need to engage,
but
so that we know that we are bigger.
Madam Marasisi, you are not alone, but one can say that if there is anyone who has benefited in this government and in this regime, and the peace that was brought by the NRA and the NRM, are women.
They are women, yes.
You have been put at the forefront. Actually, someone said last time that we no longer need women emancipation. We have reached a level where men should be emancipated as well.
Exactly. Now we have gone past the women and girl child. We are now we are going, because the boy child is also having issues down there.
You have put the boy child down now.
That is the liberty we have. No. That is the freedom. That's how great we are. And that is what I'm going to celebrate. That's why I will thank God and pray for these men who had nothing, who knew nothing, went up because they had to come together and believed in Ubuntu, and that is Ubuntu, and that is what we should celebrate as Uganda.
What should be the contribution of women in bringing about peace in this country?
The contribution of women is as good as the contribution of men, as good as the contribution of everybody. There shouldn't be any difference. It's all about emyoga. That's what the president has been saying. What is your moga? What are you well good at? What are you what are you well conversant at? Who are you? So it's about discovering you. It's about who you are. So as women, I want to congratulate women, because we come from far. That is not the stage we had before. That's not the level we were at. We are all now at the same table.
Women of today's generation utilized much more peace and forgotten some of your responsibilities.
Those are the challenges, and they exist everywhere. They are even in the youth. You find their challenges even all gender, everyone. I want to take it like it's not only in women.
Madam Alasisi, some people still say that women have not utilized the peace, but they have taken it in the other angle. You have, instead of respecting men, you no longer, because you cannot be touched in this regime, because you report to police or to FIDA, and you have forgotten your roles. You have forgotten the roles.
Moderator, can I ask a question?
Please, General.
Are the men respectable?
What is it?
I think they are, General.
It's about. I think I want to challenge the lawmakers. It's not about women. It's about all of us as Ugandan, as Africans. That's what we need to look at.
Okay.
And that is where we are engaging now, and we are gaining ground. we are gaining ground. So
Interesting.
I congratulate and we're there. We are all there. Yes, we have some Achilles heels. There are some gray areas, but we are in the right direction.
Interesting.
Of course, I want also on this day, I celebrate this consistency, the persistence, and the sustainability. Being able to achieve one step at a time in these years. 42?
43.
43. In these 43 years, we have been sustainably growing, developing, achieving. Okay, right now we are saying it's not about the foreign influence and handouts and giving. Now it's about us. If we come together, if we believe in ourselves, and if everyone plays their best at their at whatever they are good at, then we shall also be there. And this is not only Uganda. It's not only Uganda. This is what every developed nation has done, and they have achieved, and they have grown very fast. If people unite for a common good, and if we resist those negative elements and influencers, if we put our side, and if we look at those who try to push us backwards, who try to create hatred and indifference and confusion and division, if we try to see them as, I look at them as sick people who need help, who need treatment, who need to be guided and taught. And believe me, we are also achieving that. So I congratulate UPDF and Uganda and the President of Uganda for having reached this far, 43 years of total freedom, democracy, and bringing us this far. The struggle really is now a Ugandan struggle. It is a people. They empowered Uganda, and we thank you for uniting Uganda and restoring peace and security and liberty.
Interesting. Thank you, Madam RCC, our dear listener. This is UBC Ground Zero, and we are live and clear on 4 radio stations covering entire Uganda. We are on UBC Radio, 98.0 FM in Kampala, 97.4 FM in Arua, 99.4 FM in Lira, and we're also live and clear on Butebo Radio in Eastern Uganda. If you're in Bale, we are 96.9 FM. If you're in Soloti, 98.4 FM. And if you are in Teso, Lango, Acholi, and parts of Karamoja, we are live and clear on Western Nile Radio on 98.0, and also we are live on Magic 100 FM radio in central parts of Kampala, central parts of Uganda. Our topic today, we are celebrating people's struggle for unity, security, and peace. It is a privilege and honor to have our Brigadier General Felix Kuleje, the UPDF spokesperson. Keita Kagabi Doreen is the Deputy RCC Kampala Central. And we also have Kambula Milton, Peace Service Ambassador coming from Global Peace Foundation. And Dr. Christopher Lwanga, Head of Research Ideology, coming from UPC. And Nampaira Manotega is my name. You can be part of the conversation by calling on 0776 511 426 is the number you can call, or you can send your messages on 0701 24 26 47. Ask anything about Taresita and about UPDF and about any celebrations of this year, and on 776 511 426 I'll be able to pick you and raise your concerns. We are taking a very short break, and after that very break, I'm going to get your messages and keep them coming through on that very number, 0701 24 26 47, or call us on 0776 511 426. I pray you don't go away. I'm coming back in just a bit.
This is Ground Zero Season 2. Stay tuned. We shall be right back. It's hot.
We passed it. We didn't know exactly what the problem was on the ground. There is no pretending about the effect of this thing. There's no pretending about it. Nobody should. It's a problem.
It's balanced.
This is not the stage at which you start planning to tax a commodity like coffee, especially from down there.
It's intellectually engaging.
The Constitution provides that the land must be registered under the customer tenure system, which is one of those that's recognized by the Constitution.
Ground Zero Season 2, live and syndicated on your public and national broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Tarehe Sita is a crucial day in Uganda's history. It is marked annually to remember the day when the National Resistance Army, led by Yoweri Museveni and 27 armed men, attacked Kabamba military barracks in Mubende district. The attack led to the 5-year Luwero Bush War that brought President Museveni to power on 26 January 1986. This year, the 43rd Tarehe Sita celebrations will be held under the theme celebrating the people's struggle for unity, security and peace for socio-economic transformation. The event is on Tuesday 6th February at Bugweri District Headquarters.
And we shall go to fight until Uganda is free.
This is Ground Zero Season 2. Stay tuned. We shall be right back.
Welcome back from that very short break. This is UBC Ground Zero. We are live and clear on 4 radio stations covering entire Uganda, and we are live and clear on YouTube. In case you want to be part of us, just put UBC Radio Live and you'll be able to see the guests that I have in the studios, and also be part of the conversation. Ambaida Manutega is my name, and we have put together a special team of guests who understand, helping us to understand why we are celebrating people's struggle for unity, security, and peace. UBC.
Yes, I am Henry Baguma. Hello?
You are live and clear, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. What I can add to the program, I have of course, by virtue of my work, I have traveled extensively with Uganda People's Defense Forces. I've also engaged many people about the UPDF, and I want to give what I've so far found in a brief summary. Number one, just yesterday, I engaged the members of parliament, women members of parliament from eastern Uganda, particular areas where they are hosting the UPDF terrorist activities. They're very excited about their comments. Honorable Rachel Magora, woman member of parliament, Bugwere, which is the host for the terrorist day. I also engaged the member of parliament, the woman member of parliament for Buyende district, and all of them having one version. They say the differences of UPDF from other.
So we have lost you, Baguma, but you can call us again on 0776 511 426 is the number you can call and be part of the conversation. Allow me read some of the messages coming from the other side of radio, listeners from the other side of radio. Someone is called John Jones Mululi and is listening in from Kono, and is saying giving people medals, they don't go and they go back and can't find food or where to sleep or a meal for a day isn't good. The best medal UPDF and government should give to the people of Uganda who had their contributions during the struggle to liberate this country is at least to construct them houses or perhaps set a good gardens for them if possible. If they have a meal on their table and have a shelter, then they will know that indeed they fought and liberated this country. Mary says, I'm in Chanja, thank you for the program. Can Jeno help me understand the different medals they always give? I know Katonga, I know Nalubale, but I always don't get the difference there. If he can help me understand, I'll be thankful. Someone says, I'm Penopendi. Women need to be brought in front again because they fought, and we need to keep on front because we are put at the back for so many years. It is our time to enjoy. UBC?
Hello?
UBC,
Yes, I am back. I was saying,
you're live and
Yes.
clear. Mm.
yes, thank you very much. The members of parliament told me one thing that the army is very thorough and in terms of service delivery. And for example, you can quote Honorable Magola said that you can give 100 million shillings to the army to do a road, and they'll do it until the conclusion. You give the civilian side of a group of civilian people say that very type of road will cost you 200 million shillings. And at the same time, the army will complete the assignment. The civilian side, they take time, they give reasoning. Every time they come back, we need more money. So that is a difference according to her and also the MP there. Now, the second point I want to also observe that UPDF celebrates a full week. And this be a lesson to other institutions, for example, the National Women's Day, National Independence Day, this Labor Day. Can we also extend beyond so that during that period they do a lot of activities for the community, for the people? The army, the full 7 days, they are constructing roads, they are helping, they rebuild schools, they are doing what? So I think this is a very big lesson we need to learn from